So just just get the idea, and anything. You can also link to your social media. Yeah, you can do anything. So that, I think, is how we should try to make things interesting. And as I said, this can be um, what you call this can be oh, now I lost the word, but it can be going into anyone's phone, as long as they have data, and um, you do not need an expensive internet plan. So it's just something like this. You can be stream. That's the word, stream into the phone, and you can click on anything, and nothing is downloaded to the phone. It's only streaming. So that's why you don't need a phone with big memory. You just need enough memory for the streaming to happen. And once you shut this the what you call close this digital book, everything, your phone does not have this anymore. um it is cloud based. All right. um now I need to go back to my slide. Let me see now, how do I go back to my slide now? um okay, actually I don't have very much more. um Now, how do I that's a good question. Now, how do I go back to my slide? Resume share. Oops, where's my okay, so these are my slides. Okay, I've just got a little bit more. So we talk about digital transformation, but we also need to know what the success factors are. I have created what is called OMA. It is a framework for success. Yeah. Number one, the mindset. To be able to overcome any gaps, physical or otherwise, how we as educators think about how to provide education digitally depends on the mindset of the teachers, of the rest of the stakeholders, to be able to prepare ourselves and the students for digital education. Okay, and we also have to be open to anything. Yeah, as long as we can produce the learning among students. So it could be an open course, it could be an open textbook, it can be something that's open out there, not in your university but out there. And we should be able to be ready, or prepare the readiness of our students, the readiness of our teachers, the readiness of our policy makers, the readiness of our the leaders or the managers in our educational institution. We all need to be able to think about how to be adaptive, not to resist. Yeah, otherwise we are going to be slowing ourselves down. The world is moving fast. Education is the slowest. Yeah, I think. Yeah, we have Airbnb replacing the hotels. We have Traveloka replacing travel agencies. We have so many things that have gone digital. We leverage on the digital framework, digital infrastructure, but education has been a bit slower. So basically, yeah, we have to move forward. And I think that, okay, I'm not going to talk about this because this is another 5-10 minutes. So I'll just end my slide here and pass it back to our MC for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Zaraini, for your incredibly contextual presentation.
Yeah,
do not, you're welcome. Do not leave just yet. We will
okay,
see you again in a bit.
All right, I'll turn off my video.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, thank you. For the see you again on the Q&A session. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for us because now we have already had Her Excellency Minister of Finance in the room, Ibu Sri Mulyani Indrawati. But before Ibu Sri Mulyani presents her keynote speech, I will invite Dr. Muhammad Hassan Habibi in the room to give his warm greetings to Ibu Sri Mulyani. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Muhammad Hassan Habibi is the Director of Center of Data and Information at Pusdatin, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology, and as well as the President of ISODEL 2021. To Dr. Muhammad Hassan Habibi, the room is yours. Thank you. Are you in the room?
Ya.
Okay, please, the room is yours.
Baik, terima kasih. Aku pakai bahasa Indonesia saja ya.
Silahkan.
Baik, selamat sore semuanya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera dan salam buat kita semua yang kami hormati dan kami muliakan Ibu Menteri Keuangan, Ibu Sri Mulyani yang alhamdulillah sudah berkenan hadir untuk kemudian bersama dengan rekan-rekan di Kementerian Pendidikan Kebudayaan, Riset dan Teknologi dalam acara ISODEL tahun 2021 ini. Agenda ini sendiri perlu kami sedikit mungkin sampaikan kepada Ibu Sri Mulyani bahwa ini adalah pertemuan lintas antara para pemikir, para akademisi, para praktisi yang bergerak baik di satuan pendidikan maupun di perguruan tinggi dan dunia industri untuk membincang berkaitan dengan teknologi pendidikan sekarang dan masa yang akan datang. Nah, ini tentu menarik buat kita karena selama 1,5 tahun sampai 2 tahun terakhir ini pandemi betul-betul membawa sebuah budaya baru, terutama terkait dengan pemanfaatan teknologi pendidikan dalam proses belajar mengajar kita semua. Besar harapan kami nanti tentu sesuai dengan kewenangan yang Ibu Sri Mulyani tentu kelola berkaitan dengan keuangan, tentu pasti ada irisan, tentu pasti ada kebijakan-kebijakan ke depan yang transformatif, terutama terkait dengan proses digitalisasi pendidikan di negara Indonesia ini. Mungkin ini sebagai sebuah pengantar saja. Kami dari Pusdatin Kemdikbudristek mengucapkan terima kasih yang sebesar-besarnya atas kehadiran dari Sri Mulyani. Terima kasih, selamat sore. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Hassan, for your warm welcoming. Now, let us give our warmest welcome to Ibu Minister of Finance, Ibu Sri Mulyani Indrawati, SA MSc PhD. To Ibu Sri Mulyani Indrawati, the room is yours and you may start now. Thank you. Hello, Ibu, are you in the room? Hello, Ibu Sri, are you in the room? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, while we are waiting for Ibu Sri Mulyani to arrive in the room, let's just have a little bit reflection back to Professor Zoraini's presentation just now. From her presentation, we have come to understand that it is a very challenging in this, especially in times like this, in the COVID-19 pandemic situation, where the learning process is not the same as it used to be, and the technology used has to be adjusted based on the based on the variety of current situation of where we are. So it is not always about the latest technology, but it is about how effective the technology can be implemented to help us overcome the issues and challenges of learning process. So from the presentation of Professor Zoraini, it is also very clear that in order to be able to design the learning activity within the learning process that is engaging and fun and also meaningful, it takes consideration, and it highlights our attention that learning is something that we need to think not just as part of a good grades, but also as part of how we understand what we learned. Okay, we will get more on the question and answer session later on, but let's just check whether Ibu Sri Mulyani is in the room already. Hello, Ibu. Okay, we are still waiting for Ibu Sri to arrive in the room. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my apology because we still wait for Ibu Sri Mulyani finishing the special event. To get into let's just get into the next session. Let's just get into the next part of the session. To our next speaker, Miss Olivia Husli Basrin. Okay. Ibu Olivia, are you in the room?
Yes, I am.
Okay, excellent. Okay, Ibu Olivia, before you get into your presentation, allow me to introduce you to the audience first. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is Ms. Olivia Husli Basrin. Ms. Olivia Husli Basrin is a public policy and government affairs specialist who is also currently the country lead of Google Cloud for Education at Google Indonesia. She has extensive experience in managing regulatory campaigns in Indonesia and Asia to ensure a sustainable business environment. She has established network with Indonesian public officials in various ministries, members of parliaments, as well as the civil society community. It is an honor for us today to have her in the room now. Without further ado, let us give a warm welcome to Ms. Olivia Husli Basrin. To Ms. Olivia, the room is yours and you may start now. Thank you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sore, salam sejahtera. Is it okay if I speak in Bahasa?
Sure, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, okay.
Please.
Terima kasih, selamat sore Bapak dan Ibu. Perkenalkan, nama saya Olivia Husli Basrin, saya adalah Country Lead untuk Google Education Indonesia. Dalam kesempatan ini kami sangat mengapresiasi atas waktu yang diberikan oleh Sodel untuk bisa turut berpartisipasi dalam acara yang sangat-sangat dinanti, khususnya terkait dengan dan bagaimana sangat relevan khususnya dengan kondisi pandemi saat ini. Tentunya peran penting teknologi itu dirasakan oleh semua pihak untuk memperluas pembelajaran bagi semua orang serta sudah menciptakan cara baru untuk belajar. Berikutnya. Di masa pandemi seperti sekarang ini, wajah pendidikan di Indonesia dan dunia tentu banyak berubah. Ribuan bahkan ratusan ribu sekolah di seluruh dunia terpaksa tutup demi keselamatan semua siswa dan gurunya. Bahkan secara global ada sekitar 1,2 miliar siswa di seluruh dunia yang harus beradaptasi dengan kondisi saat ini. Tentunya yang kalau kita lihat dari slide ini, pandemi itu telah membawa disrupsi dalam skala yang begitu besar di seluruh lini kehidupan termasuk pendidikan. Dan siswa di seluruh dunia harus beradaptasi atau berinovasi cara baru untuk bisa tetap menjalankan proses belajar mengajar. Next slide. Meskipun proses belajar mengajar atau sekolah saat ini terlihat berbeda, tapi ada satu hal yang bisa kita lihat bahwa kita dapat terus belajar di mana saja, baik itu di ruang kelas, di rumah, dan dimanapun. Penutupan sekolah semasa-masa COVID telah menunjukkan bahwa batasan-batasan fisik semakin berkurang dan disinilah teknologi dapat membantu memfasilitasi belajar mengajar dari mana saja. Untuk itu, saya mengundang kita menyaksikan suatu video untuk bisa melihat bagaimana pengajar di seluruh dunia, termasuk di Indonesia, bisa beradaptasi di tengah kondisi pandemi saat ini.
We were not sure what would happen to us. We did not know what would happen to our pupils and our staff members. We were not sure what would...
हमें डर था कि बच्चे कहीं पीछे ना रह जाएं।
हेलो।
हम टीचरों को ही कोई नया रास्ता ढूंढना था।
We're going to work out the volume of this spring roll.
Good morning and welcome to our whole school assembly.
Let's get some learning on.
I consist of 95% water.
I am really happy to see so many people. Hi.
Ciao bambini.
El COVID nos ha llevado a innovar, a hacer cosas disruptivas, a hacer cosas diferentes.
Technology can level the playing field for children. It opens up so many avenues that they otherwise would not have been exposed to. It's hope.
I'm so proud of you. Well done.
Oke, ya, teknologi sudah menjadi cara baru untuk belajar dan hal ini menginspirasi kami untuk bisa menjadi lebih baik lagi setiap harinya dan terus senantiasa menyediakan teknologi terdepan bagi dunia pendidikan. Setelah tadi kita melihat guru-guru di seluruh dunia beradaptasi di tengah pandemi COVID, sekarang juga kita bisa saksikan bagaimana Pak Topari, seorang guru dari Gunung Kidul, Yogyakarta, yang bisa menggunakan teknologi dan solusi dari Google for Education seperti Chromebook dan Google Classroom untuk bisa mengembangkan proses belajar mengajar bahkan di tengah kondisi pandemi sekalipun. Boleh dimainkan videonya?
Dunia pendidikan ketika dibantu dengan teknologi, kita dapat terus berjuang untuk membagikan ilmu. Saya Topari, saya guru TIK di SMA Negeri 1 Playan, Gunung Kidul. Pada saat pandemi seperti ini, hampir semua sekolah di negeri ini menerapkan pembelajaran jarak jauh. Di sisi lain, saya masih melihat banyak rekan-rekan guru yang literasi digitalnya masih perlu ditingkatkan. Untungnya, dari tahun 2015, saya sudah bergabung dengan komunitas Google Educator Group. Komunitas ini mengajarkan kepada saya banyak ilmu. Beberapa hari sebelum PJJ dimulai, saya menyiapkan Google Suite for Education di sekolah kami. Kita lalu bersama-sama melakukan upgrading guru dari sisi kemampuan dengan menggunakan Google Suite for Education. Begitu PJJ dimulai, kita pindahkan semua proses pembelajaran yang awalnya di kelas menjadi pembelajaran di Google Classroom. Di sini banyak tools yang bisa kita pakai, dari tools yang dipakai untuk menyampaikan materi kepada siswa sampai dengan mengabsensi. Di sini juga kita menerapkan kelas virtual dan mengintegrasikan semua itu ke dalam portal pembelajaran Kama Wahabita. Dengan adanya kreativitas, dukungan teknologi, serta sarana, siswa bisa belajar dimanapun mereka berada. Dan saya yakin juga literasi digital orang tua akan semakin meningkat. Kedepannya, saya akan terus mengupayakan pemahaman teknologi pembelajaran digital kepada rekan guru, murid maupun orang tua. Saya yakin dengan adanya teknologi ini, guru-guru akan semakin terbantu untuk melewati tantangan pendidikan yang ada di depan mata.
Ya, selama 2 tahun, hampir 2 tahun kondisi pandemi saat ini, saya yakin cerita seperti Pak Topari banyak dan semakin bertumbuh dan berkembang di guru-guru di Indonesia. Mungkin berikutnya slide-nya. Dan cerita Pak Topari itu tidak hanya terbatas untuk di Indonesia, tapi juga di seluruh dunia kita mendapatkan banyak cerita terkait dengan perubahan transisi yang dilakukan oleh para guru untuk bisa terus mendorong perubahan dan inovasi di tengah kondisi pandemi saat ini.
Ibu Olivia, mohon maaf.
Iya, nggak apa-apa.
Mohon maaf, bisa diganggu sebentar aja. Iya, ini nanti bisa dilanjutkan lagi. Bu Menteri mau masuk ke ruangan? Nggak apa-apa ya Ibu ya?
Terima kasih.
Siap-siap.
Iya,
Oke, ya terima kasih Ibu. Oke. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue with Ibu Olivia's presentation later on, but now we have Ibu Menteri Ekonomi Ibu Sri Mulyani Indrawati in the room. We would like to invite her to deliver her keynote speech. To Ibu Sri Mulyani Indrawati, the room is yours. Thank you. Ibu, are you in the room?
Okay, Ibu Prativi, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Ibu. Please, the room is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon to all of you. Pak Nadiem Makarim, Pak Tanto Wijaya, Ibu Suharti, and all my colleagues from the Ministry of Education, Cultural, Research and Technology, the Republic of Indonesia, panelists and participants of this international conference. I would like to express first my appreciation to the initiative by the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology for organizing this international conference. I know that the initiative and the discussion about this topic is started since even 1995, so it's a very long journey. This international symposium or conference have the theme Education Technology in the New Normal, Now and Beyond. I think this is a very, very timely and very important topic, which is not only relevant to what we are facing today, but also most importantly, what we are aiming to do or the objective in the whole journey of education, especially for our children, to make them able to prepare for a very challenging future. Ladies and gentlemen and all participants, human capital is very important for any country. Investment in human capital is not a choice, but is a mandatory for a country advancing their own journey to achieve a better livelihood, and also for Indonesia, meaning that we are aiming to achieve our national goal. That is how we are going to reach prosperity for all. Indonesia has put this development of human capital, especially related to the education, health, and social safety net, as our highest priority. On our budget, according to our constitution, we have to allocate 20% of our spending for education. We also now, according to some others law, that we have to allocate 5% of our budget at the national level and 10% of our budget at the local level for health. So definitely in this case, education and health receive the most important allocation of our budget. If we combine this with social protection, which is also growing, and also in this case focusing on the human capital development, I think we can see that the Indonesia budget really prioritizing on the human capital or human development. I give you the example. In 2017, our state budget, 20% of allocation on education was 416 trillion, 20% of our total spending, which is at that time was around 2,000 trillion. Now, with the spending of 2,700 trillion due to the COVID, as well as the situation during this pandemic, the budget for education has increased substantially from 416 trillion in 2017 into 550 trillion in 2021. Of course, this is not the budget for the Ministry of Education and Research. This is a combined budget which is allocated for the Ministry of Education, Minister of even Religious Affairs, because all the religious school, which is under the Ministry of Religious Affairs, is also categorized as an education activity, and also through the local government, because we transfer almost 3/4 of this budget through local government, in which education, especially on a primary school up to the high school, they are all has been delegated to the local government responsibility. So the challenge for the Indonesia education maybe is no longer about whether this is the priority or the highest priority. The challenge is how we are going to use this funding, the budget, which is very significant, to achieve the best result. That is the output, the outcome in the form of human capital, which need to continue to be improved. In addition to that, rather than actually spending in the form of current operational spending, the government of Indonesia also initiated what we call it, Education Endowment Fund. This is, we are going to establish this funding in order for us to be able to better use the allocation of budget that cannot be spent, all of them in a sound program immediately every year, but we put it in the endowment fund for our children so that they are going to be able to use this funding for their education. Every year, we put around 20 trillion on our LPDP, that is National Education Development Fund, Endowment Fund. And we also starting to dedicate one special earmark for the research as well as culture endowment fund. We even started beginning 2019 with